All right, everyone, we are here with another off season, only two more before the season starts. Today I'll be taking in White Magneto, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Mr. Negative. I'll be taking Path 7 in Section 1 and Path 8 in Section 2. All right, so this Path 7 path, I actually wanted to test these two with good matchups and see how bad the power gain was and if it would affect rotation and whatnot. So this first one here has kinetic transference, and that's really what I'm worried about, more so since it's the off season and Killmonger starting with 2 debuffs right off the bat would have affected power gain at the start. So luckily he doesn't have suicides, so it worked out. So I'm going to get a true test here of what it would be like in season to see if you can complete the rotation without triggering Dex and throwing the SP2. So it works out here, and if I had power back boosts, that should be enough to get me close to the next SP2, but since I got that SP2 out without triggering dexterity again, I'm going to be able to get another rotation in without pushing him to SP3. And this here I could have thrown, should have ended it, but we lucked out with another parry, and that ended it instead. So pretty good showing there. Moving on, the next power gain issue I was kind of concerned about was the Vivified here with America Chavez. I was curious to see if the combat power rate would be out of hand, or could get out of hand before dropping an SP2, and I was actually surprised by that parry heavy that she didn't immediately go to a bar of power. So I figured here, and I didn't do it, in season a PS1 would be enough to get us quickly to SP2 and already drop an SP2 with 10 plus dark energy, and this fight would have already been over. But since I had to build to SP2 while baiting out some special attacks, this fight definitely took longer. Also involved more evade counters than the fight would need. So Mr. Negative definitely an option there, since you can't do much with Power Burn, Power Steal, or Power Lock. All right, and then these next three are going to be my last 3 fights. I'm actually kind of upset. I woke up the next morning and took 2 mini bosses, a Maul and a Mojo, on node 48, so Rage, and then Mojo was on node 51, which is the block penetration node with Conflictor, which was the point of bringing White Magneto. So I soloed both of those with Mr. Negative, but it got interesting because, one, I think I pushed to 10 light energy, and as soon as the high ground charge fell, the light energy disappeared, so I didn't evade counter. But we managed to solo off of regenning from his degen and the fact he had suicides. And then I placed the pre-fight on Mojo and didn't make sure it was actually placed before going in, and sure enough, it didn't place. But that one was an easier solo. Anyways, here, Cosmic Ghost Rider would not be the go-to at all. Apocalypse actually wasn't banned, and look at the AI smarts on that. Apocalypse wasn't banned for this war, and this would be an ideal fight with Apocalypse, but with the White Magneto pre-fight. You're going to want the White Magneto pre-fight because Kraven actually reduces non-damaging debuff timers by 10% each time it's triggered, up to max of 80%. So you're going to want that parry, that stun duration for him, just so that you don't end up in the situation I am right now, where I'm about to get cornered. Now, it's not because of the passive stun that I'm getting cornered here with the traps. It's the disorient. I was trying to avoid blocked hits, and that's another reason Apocalypse would do well here. Now, I trigger this trap before throwing the SP1, which means I end up taking this crossfight ability, which reduces combat rate, which is unfortunate, because it might have played a factor later in this Super Skrull fight, the one after Guillotine 2099 here. But you'll see it was just me being dumb. So I decided to use cosmic boosts here. One set, it's not a big deal. And we're just going to pretty much obliterate Guillotine 2099 here. So I was hoping she wouldn't throw that SB1, and she didn't, so we got lucky. So when we throw our SB2, it's going to power lock her at SB2, and it's also going to give us enough power back to throw an SB3 immediately, and she's very much armor broken, so this is going to end it. This is pretty much what you want as far as an ideal Cosmic Ghost Rider matchup. The fight's over in seconds once you get to your SB2 without triggering dexterity. So that same concept we're going to try and use on Super Skrull. Now, the difference here is that Super Skrull has some power gain buffs. He's on Rich Gets Richer, so he's going to gain a lot of power quickly. And since he does gain a lot of buffs, especially from being hit, I'm going to have a ton of weaknesses on me. And you're actually going to see it blend in, I think, with the critical, one of the crit buffs, which is kind of odd. So here, this SB2, we got the rotation. He's locked, so no worry. We almost got to our SB2, and here I did 2 mediums because I wanted to keep him from getting SB3, but I wanted to get my SB2, and I didn't need to do that. I could have just full comboed, got to my SB2, and then thrown it, and he would have died. Now, I didn't see armor breaks, so you can go ahead and replay through this. There are no armor breaks listed or showing, but my regular combat hits from the 2 mediums I threw into him before I gave him SB3, or that gave him SB3, definitely did enough damage that it was from the armor breaks. So I can't blame the visual bug because I was looking at the power bar, not the armor breaks. But after watching this back, I shouldn't have cared. Should have just full comboed into SB2, and that would have ended the fight. And all it does is us watching me do the exact same thing just to finish the fight right here. So that was it of that war. We've got one more off-season war. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will catch you guys at the next one. Go ahead and hit subscribe and hit that like button.